On Wednesday, 9th July, 2025 came the shocking news that Christian Horner had been sacked from his role as CEO and team principal of Red Bull Racing. Horner has helmed the team since it first entered the sport, with his bombastic leadership defining its attitude as it pursued multiple world championships with the likes of Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. However, Red Bull has struggled in recent months. Midway through 2024, it was clear that the team was unable to introduce upgrades to counter the performance gained by the likes of McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari. So while an ever-dominant Max Verstappen was still able to clinch his fourth driver title, the team had to content itself with third overall in the World Constructors' Championship. The difficulties of the RB20 have only been magnified in this year's 2025 challenger, the RB21. Red Bull currently sits fourth overall in the constructors' standings, with Verstappen maintaining a distant third in the fight for a fifth consecutive crown. As major players like Adrian Newey and Jonathan Wheatley headed off for greener pastures, performance continued to suffer. Wolff's place at Mercedes is secure in large part thanks to his ownership stake. Without that, at Red Bull, Horner was subject to sacking in the event majority ownership called for it. And there is indeed a team on the grid that Horner could buy into: ALPINE. But would ALPINE want him? And could he afford a major stake? Having tried to get to F1 himself as a driver, Horner became a team boss at 25 years old in 1999 in F3000, which is the current equivalent of Formula 2. After success in F3000, Horner was chosen as Red Bull's team principal when they joined the grid in 2005, becoming the youngest ever team principal in F1 aged 31, and made a team that was branded unserious into multiple championship winners. Motor racing is in his blood, and his success at Red Bull will surely make him a candidate for most teams in F1. Over the last 2 months, reports from the German and Italian media claimed Frederic Vasseur's position as team principal at Ferrari was under threat. Vasseur hid out at the Italian outlets and said he was able to cope with the situation, but suggested disrespectful and very harsh speculation over others working under him at Ferrari was destabilizing the team. "It's always very flattering to be associated with other teams," he told Sky Sports F1 at the end of May. "My whole career has been spent with Red Bull, and I'm absolutely committed to this team. There are so many rumors and speculations these days, it's not even worth listening to." Now, Horner has time to consider Ferrari as an option if Vasseur comes under increasing pressure, but Sky Sports F1's Karun Chandok thinks Horner is unlikely to join F1's most famous team. Since Oliver Oakes left Alpine as team principal in May for personal reasons, the Enstone-based outfit has seen plenty of change, and Horner would surely provide a much-needed clear figurehead. Alpine named experienced sporting director Steve Nielsen as their managing director from September's Italian Grand Prix to oversee the day-to-day running of the team. Although Dave Greenwood has taken over Oakes's formal duties, Flavio Briatore is the de facto team principal, but seemingly wants to be an advisor, leaving the team principal role available. One drawback could be Horner's tense relationship with what was then Renault during the early years of the turbo hybrid era between 2014 and 2018. Red Bull ran Renault power units, but the engine often let them down with several race-ending issues and a clear performance deficit to Ferrari and Mercedes, ultimately leading to the relationship ending and Red Bull partnering with Honda in 2019. However, plenty has changed at Renault, now called Alpine, and the team would be the most natural fit according to Chandok. There is zero chance Horner would end up at McLaren or Mercedes. Williams have just signed James Vowles on a long-term deal, and former Red Bull sporting director Jonathan Wheatley has made a great start to life at Sauber. That leaves Haas, which perhaps is not attractive enough for Horner, and Aston Martin as options. The latter would see Horner reunited with legendary designer Adrian Newey. Aston Martin owner Lawrence Stroll has ambitions to win world titles. So could he make a shock decision to get Horner a job at the Silverstone-based outfit? Andy Cowell only became team principal at the start of this year, so it would be harsh to remove him in that role before the new 2026 regulations, when Aston Martin could become front-runners. Horner could also look outside of a team role by following in the footsteps of former Ferrari bosses Jean Todt and Stefano Domenicali, who took charge of the FIA and F1 respectively. Whatever he decides to do, it is almost certain Horner will be back in F1 in some capacity.